and here I continue my experience using Lovable, especially on the server side. And here I start to add the server side application to the application to handle the reservation, including canceling, like sending emails, and help me to manage the content of the menu page. And when I send this to Lovable, they give me a lot of SQLs, and they want me to check if the SQL is good enough or is valid, so they can apply the changes in the server-side code and also onto the super base. And actually here that I think, yeah, it is possible or it is necessary for the users to check the SQLs, but actually here the SQLs it actually comes with a certain design, which actually here they have the reservations, they have the profiles as well, which means you have the user, like you have the user table, you have the user authorization, you have the user login. So actually here is that if I treat like the whole system or the whole tool as so actually you can treat the whole system or this kind of tool into separate or into two different rules. The first one is that this is like my virtual team like team member, or there is a virtual developer like coding alongside with you, help you to do the code, and which in this circumstance I will try to discuss the design, discuss the implementation with the virtual developer here. So I would rather here we can chat, we can have some conversation here through the whole design rather than it already designed and just give me the SQL for me to approve. I think we can discuss the design, which is better in this kind of role. But if you treat this as the AI that really can implement the code for you, you don't have to open you don't have to open everything. You don't have to like show me every details. You just do it. And this is something also needs some balance here. I personally I will prefer the virtual team member role. I don't really like like a big brother kind of role. Like you tell them what to do or they just do it for you. And they done it perfectly. If they can done it perfectly, wow, that's great. But actually here or actually in a lot of circumstances they can't. And that is where you start to, open the hood and you try to check what's happening underground, under beneath it. So instead of try to pretend everything goes well and check some arrows from a certain part which go wrong, I would rather try to discuss everything with the AI and let me to handle or control or have more context over the whole application. I think this is better. So here they just give me a SQL with the design, and I told him no, I don't want this to be so complicated at the first place. I don't need like user authorization. Maybe if you have user authorization, you can just we can log in through Google. You can log in through like maybe GitHub or something else, but not like this. So I told him, I told the AI to go simpler, much more simpler. And here is the this is the SQL here, and I run the SQL, and it just registers the whole tables on the super base and done it for me, which is cool. This is something like when you do the programming, it's something like the tools. They when you run the tool, they automatically they build a lot of codes for you already. You have the code already. It's kind of the same thing. And okay, and also if I want to finish or want to successfully build the email sending features, I use an application. I use a platform called resign.com. Actually, I never used it before. And there's an API key here. So I register the API key here, And when you build something, it always build unsuccessful. Something accepted happens usually at the front end side. I don't know why, but it just happens. Um, it seems that when you try to um, accomplish one feature, or you try to write one feature using AI, some other part of the feature also be changed, and some will lead to unnecessary or unexpected errors. And you have to always to change, or always have to fix those errors using the AI, because since the error is not causing by yourself. Yeah. And let's go down here, and from here, these arrows happens really really a lot. I don't know why this happens really really a lot. I would try to go more details with those arrows later. Okay. And this is the SQL here, and this is like some arrows here. I want to take a screenshot of the arrow, and later I found there are just so many arrows, so I just stopped by taking the screenshots. And actually, when you try to go more deeper, you find, okay, there are some errors on the page. There is no way you can submit the reservation because of some third party platform, the recent platform. You have to register an email domain, but actually I don't have the email domain, so I use the default email domain instead. So when I try to send the email, so the email is coming from onboarding at resend.dev. It's not something like reservation at donativo.restaurant. So this is something, but this also costs some money if I register this domain, so I put this by default at the first place. Yeah. Okay, continue. Let's see what's happening here. The change directly. Oh yeah, yeah. And from here, actually, you go back to um, the experience when you try to develop everything, by your own self. Like when I spot some arrows here, and I go to the Superbase, and you can check the reservation. There are some logs here, and you check those logs where there's no logs in this application. Let's see if this have some logs. Last hour? No, it's not last hour. Last 3 hours. Okay. So you have some arrows, and you go to the arrows and see, oh, okay, voila, and why some error happens, and then you go back, you paste those arrows into Lovable and try to give them more context. It's actually, this is something more like what I just said. It's a virtual team member, because Lovable itself, it doesn't really have a lot of, I'm not sure they have such context by default. Like I think I have to provide those contexts for them. It's like we are just like peer programming, something like that. But this virtual team member mostly do the most programming thing. But for my role is that I tell them what is wrong or what to do here, and make some code reviews, and also they can code review me as well. Yeah. And this is something that happens actually here. You can more going from where there is no server side to, okay, we have like a server application which you can make the reservation into the code into the database, and then using the Lambda function to send emails. Yeah. But and from here, if I rate this whole system, I rate it like if 10 is if we have 10, I rate it as 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10. But from here to the very end, when I try to experience this whole system, I think I waste a lot of time, from here to the end, because I try to make some adjustment. I try to make some feature changes. I try to fix some bugs, but when I try to fix them, there are always some errors, and I try to fix this error, another error happens. I try to fix one feature, and this feature was fixed, but then some error happens, and I fix this error, and then the old feature, and the feature just go back. And it's just like, you try to fix one thing, it's fixed, and then some error happens, you try to fix the error, and it's fixed, but then the problem or the feature you want to approach or want to solve, it go back. It just go back. So it's really painful. And here I think that I'm not sure what is the restore version here. Here we actually have the restore version. Yeah, you have the restore version, but actually I never use the restore version here. I think you can make it more like obvious here that you can restore the version here. Actually, I think if I am the programmer or like the project manager here, I would do something like this. So here I have the real code for this application. I have the you can also like see the logs here. You can also see the logs here. The logs is actually generated by AI according to my information given to the AI. I would really love to make a binding for the Git versions and to the like the adjustments according to my information here. So I can see which version I have, which version I have. So if I make this like binding, I can go back to certain versions that I want, and also I can make some versions, and I can go back to some versions and then go back and make some new branches and make some new releases to according to that version. So I never tried to restore here, but actually I've been building some features back and forth several times for several hours. So it's really like nerve-wracking, and it's really needed to restore the version. But sometimes even though you have the restore version, this button, sometimes you forgot where something happens successfully, where something was built successfully. So even though I have this button, I don't know where I should go, because I'm not sure what happens when I make some adjustments, and what happens when I provide some information to the AI and the AI makes some adjustment and it works. I don't know where it works, because through this whole history, I don't know where it works, because a lot of errors happens as well. So this gives me really pain to handle the history errors. I've been like fixing some errors for quite an hour, and to be honest, it's really painful. And let's see if there's something more. Yes, and this is some arrows. I took the screenshot. Yeah, I understand. When you're programming with the AI, sometimes you have to continuously give them some feedbacks or some context for them to programming better. Yeah, but it actually doesn't really feel very good when you're using the AI and you totally trust the AI for like a virtual team member. Okay, so okay, and I think I think I finished, or I stopped like the whole the set using Lovable to build the whole set, using the AI to build the whole set, by having you can choose the date, you can choose like you can fill the forms, and you can complete the reservation, and it will send the reservation email for you. But it happens that there are some bugs that can be fixed through the AI, so I have to fix it by myself using my own hand, and I will explain later afterwards. And I also record a video. This is actually a video within a video, and I will try to explain this in another video. And I said how I struggle with fixing some bugs here. So let's just try to see those, um, see my real experience using Lovable. This I record some videos here. Okay, so here you got an error. You try to fix it, and this is my last minute using Lovable. Um, it's not last 9 minutes using Lovable for this current application today, and you try to fix it, and it solves some problems, and I give you a new page. So here, actually, I was facing a problem is that I want to make the reservation, invalid on the date picker uh, before you make the, before you make the choice of the certain date, because if somebody else make the reservation, you can set the date to invalid on the date picker. You can have a request to the database to see which day is invalid, and you set the date picker. But actually, it doesn't really work well here, because here actually what happened is that so actually the AI gave me some certain feature that when I click the certain date and it shows invalid, it shows unavailable to book at the bottom. But actually I don't like it. I think it's not as necessary for you to click the button at the first place. So I wish that you can have the information on the date picker. The certain date can be invalid on the date picker, so you cannot pick them. But okay, so here you have those reservation. The reservation. You have those emails, and you try to click the cancellation. Oh, okay. So here I have some errors. Remember here you have like the message like xdino subhost header must be set, and I post this to Lovable. I said, okay, I got this, and try to fix this. Please try to fix this for me. And this is what I told Lovable to do. Um, because I want the cancellation can be canceled before 20 hours of this order. And you always send emails when whenever you make the reservation or cancel the reservation. And I send this to the Lovable and see what's happening down there. So it's changing the cancel reservation logic here, which is a lambda function here. And actually, if there is a progress bar or a certain place where I can show, okay, some lambda function was deployed, which is, I think it's more better. I didn't see some places where I can see if a new lambda function was deployed on the superbase. Okay. Now I believe if successfully you make the change, or you make the feature happening, or you successfully fulfill the feature, they will send you an email on the cancellation. And here here is that you see the date picker. So today is December 18th, but before that it's still available to book here. So I told them you can't book the dates before today, and actually when you switch the date from December to January, so here you can see at the weekend 21 of this week you cannot book here, because it reads from the database. It reads from the database and said, okay, there's reservation here, so here is not valid for me to book. I think this features here is good. this is what I wanted. But when you switch in the calendar, you switch from December to January, this feature was lost because when you switch, you know, either you make a new request to the database to see if there is some reservations on January, or you make the whole request, from the beginning of the system to the end. So that tells you which day is booked. But when you switch, actually they didn't make the new request. So when you switch, you see another date was still valid on the date picker, but when you click it, it says unavailable at the bottom. So I don't want this. I want consistency here. I want, December, you see the December 21 can book from the calendar, and January you also see some day you cannot be booked by the calendar. But here, actually, I failed to do this through Lovable or through the AI. I told them before today you cannot pick the day before today. Yeah. And here you see in January there are some days you can pick, but actually some days you can't because it's already been booked, and you still not fix the problem. Okay, he's making those changes. And you can see that here, I didn't really check the cancellation email, and I'm not sure this is one of the reasons causing some feature changes can be can do really well or can be perfectly changed. But let's see to the end. So here they make some adjustment, and you can you can't book any dates before today or with the reservation already booked. And but in January you still you can check those dates, but actually some dates are unavailable, and the code that still didn't make those requests. And here I was like, okay, I know you cannot fix this. Please just remove the available or booked. It's not booked or available, and I don't like this, so I just want them to be removed. So here I just want a consistency. If you can't make the request, when you switch on the calendar, then every time you pick a date, and then you can after this you can make the request. I want the consistency here. I don't want any bugs here, so I choose a fallback solution. And sometimes this is something suffers that sometimes I feel that the AI doesn't really understand what people are talking about, and sometimes I feel that maybe sometimes I need to adjust the way to speak with the AI for them to understand better, but sometimes I don't know how. Okay, so you can see here some time slots are not available, are unavailable, and you can choose some other dates. Lunch. Okay. So we have the consistent here now. and then I just want to check if everything goes well, because if everything goes well, I get the reservation email and then cancel it. Well, it's something that really can work. And come on, man, you just check the email. Yeah. Okay. The email here, they have the cancellation, and you try to cancel here. You got, again, you have like the message xdno subhost header must be set. So this is something actually happens at the beginning, and this is something actually happens in the beginning, but I make the screenshot and try to fix this through the AI. It seemed to be fixing, but actually it's not. I tried to fix this several times, but it doesn't really fix. So from here, I was like, rather than going back and forth with the AI, I would rather solve this problem by my own hand, or solve this by my own self, right? And so this is where I stopped, because from here, I don't think I really need the AI for me to do the job, and actually I don't think it from here they did the job really well for me, and that is why I choose. Okay, from here we set apart. I can finish all this by my own self. Yeah, and this is the video within the video, and and the video here, actually this is 9 minutes video, and actually I've been spending like 2 hours or maybe 1 hour, at least 1 hour. Like, you've been fixing one problem, and then you're facing another problem, and then you fix another problem, and then the previous problem, it go back. So it's kind of like you're in the loop to fix those problems, and there's no way you getting out of this loop. So that is the reason why I record this video, because this video is really vivid. And so this is basically my experience using Lovable to build a reservation set for my restaurant. And I would say, here I can give you some conclusions that I think first place is that it's a cool thing, because in the previous one you don't have the AI. When you build this set, it maybe costs you for about I think at least a week, at least a week for you to do this, for to programming all this. But with the help of the AI, you can finish doing this for like within a day or 2 days, because I never used this before, but actually I spent like 2 days, maybe like 5 hours, and I can do this at this level, from scratch to this level, and which is a level up, which is a real level up. And this is the reason I said this is like a 7 or 8 out of 10 thing, which is great. But I think that I have to say there are some pros and cons, right? So I have to say some cons. I have to say some, something which I think could be done better. So first is that there are some core features I think should be implemented. So first is that I think if you can't like collaborating with an existing project, it's not acceptable, because there are so many existing projects. It's migrating or refactoring existing projects happens so much a lot than doing one project or doing one application from scratch. Yeah, and the second is that where I stop using Lovable is that you can't have those arrows back and forth. Like you have 1 arrow fix, and then there's another arrow. It happens. I think that this can be actually, if you ask me how to solve this, I don't really have a clue right now, but I would rather you have like a time machine go back, which is like the restore here, but much more obvious and much more easier to use. Like, or you can lock some versions. You can lock some versions. You can check out some versions to a new branch to store some versions. It makes me sometimes it makes me I can go back. If I stuck in the loop, I can choose, okay, which part or which point in the loop I can go back here and then say goodbye to the loop. I can do it by my own self. Yeah. And here actually I can't because there are just so many arrows and I don't know where I can jump out of these loops. So here is another problem. And it's really it's it's kind of like questioning me that this is the system which is not really big. It's like a reservation system. You have so many details in the reservation system. This is the most simple reservation system. You can add a lot of features. I told you there you can add admins, right? An administrator, or I can manage so that I can manage those reservations. You can add payment. You can add login through Google payment. And even like there are some more details that the coding is a lot about details, like which I mentioned the data picker here. Like you can have like different time slot with binding with different reservations, and you can like minor the reservation into the time slots. A lot of features like showing previous menus, other single dish from previous menus. There's so much a lot. So, but I just facing the arrows in the loop problem. So at that point, I kind of like questioning that if it can handle this kind of situation to build a more larger or a more real life engineering task, using the AI. Actually, it can. Actually, I know it can, but if I build this application using AI, I will using the IDE and also the Copilot here. And I will write the code and ask the Copilot. So it's like 60-40. I'm the 60 side and the Copilot maybe the 40 side, or maybe 50-50. But if you increase the AI part onto 80% or more, I think there's still a lot of challenge here. And I think actually you can find some balance here, like, from 50-50 to 60-40 to 70, and more to like 80%. Because if there's some like arrows can be solved, if there's some arrows which is caused by the AI, the understanding of the AI technology today, so you can just downgrade the part of the AI from 80% like AI code to 70%. Let the user or let the developers coming in more, or like I said, to treat them as a virtual developer. It's much more better than treat them as a user, as a endpoint user, or you treat them as someone who doesn't really understand programming. Because for me, if someone doesn't really understand programming, they can't use the system, because there's so much certain thing under the hood. You have to open the hood, and if someone doesn't really understand programming, they can get some toys here. But if they want something for real or can run in real production, it's so much hard for them because they don't understand nothing. And so this is the conclusion, the first, the second, and the third is that I would say, I would say that like the branch and the environment policy. I think this is important. This is important because, like I said, it's a tool that facing developers, much more facing than facing the developers. So the developers tools, you have to make it more serious in developing, in real world developing. So you have to have like separation for different environments. You gotta have like collaboration with different teams, more than more than just a link in the sandbox. So this part I think you can do. You can do some extra works here. Yeah, and others. I think these three I mentioned are some major thing that should be noticed, this is what I feel. This is only my opinion to make this whole application better, and I hope that the Lovable team can go better, can do better because I actually I do believe that AI programming is the future. Is totally this is the future, but we have a vision. I think that every developer has a vision for what type or what kind of the product will the AI programming will be. But sometimes the vision is something in the future, but you have to do it step by step. Like I said, maybe from 50-50 to 60-40 and then to 80-20 and then maybe 90-10, something like this. And it still takes some time to do this, because for the developer their goal is to handle certain features, not to just using some tools, some cool features using AIs, right? And thank you. And if there is some extra information you need, you can just contact me through the email. I will give you a document, and I will also put those videos in the document, and you can just find me everywhere, from the email from LinkedIn. Thank you very much, and here's it.